My name is Amanda Rösler, and I'm from Stockholm in Sweden, where I'm an iOS developer for Toca Boca. So back when I studied game programming at university, I knew nothing about how kids interact with touch devices. But my past 1.5 years at Toca Boca has taught me a lot about how to design for young children. So who is Toca Boca? We are 20 people and one dog who make apps for kids under the age of 10. So our main office is in Stockholm, but we also have another one in San Francisco. And we have had 35 million downloads since 2011. And our success lies in what we do different. We make digital toys, not games. In our apps, there are no high scores or time limits. Instead, we encourage open-ended, imaginative, and creative play. So what you're seeing on the screen behind me is one of our first apps, Toca Tea Party. In this app, you can invite your friends to a tea party around your iPad and serve them tea and cookies. So in the past 2 years, we have published 17 apps for iPhone and iPad, and I have mostly worked on 2 of them, Toca House and Toca Tailor. And Toca House is an app where you help 5 characters complete various household tasks in the house where they live. And this may seem a bit boring, but trust me, kids actually love this. And Toca Tailor is an app where you can create your own outfits for different characters. And like I said before, I'm a developer, not a designer. But at Toca Boca, we work in small teams, and everyone is involved in the design process. So today I would like to show you what I have learned from my colleagues at Toca Boca about designing digital toys for kids. And the 3 points I'm going to talk about are designing with kids, not for kids, designing for magical interaction, and designing for children of all ages. We think it's very important to involve children early on in the development of an app, and to also keep them involved during the whole production. And I'm going to show you a video of some research that we did for an app about baking. And we basically gave a bunch of ingredients to some kids and told them to bake something. And then we just observed. So let's watch this together. Okay, well, as you can see, the result was just one big mess. So how do you go from this to production of an app? When we do research for a concept, like we usually watch kids while they play with something that is related to the concept. And then we ask them questions to figure out exactly what it is that they think is fun. And then we try to come up with an app that embodies that and also add something extra to like enhance the experience. For example, animated characters that can react to the user's input. But in this case, we actually had to scrap the project because we didn't manage to make a digital version of baking that is as fun as it is in real life. Sometimes, after we have shaped a loose concept into a concrete app idea, we make a prototype out of paper that we can also use to test with kids. So this is the prototype we did for Toca Store, an app where you can pretend to run a store and let a friend or family member be the customer. So here you can see the paper prototype to the left and the finished product is to the right. And paper prototypes like this one make it possible for us to try out and experiment with the flow of the app before we start production. And once we do start production of an app, we always schedule a few test sessions with kids from local schools. We either visit them or invite them to our office, and then we sit down with 2 children at a time and let them play with the app. This is a good way to find out if kids actually understand how to use the app. But most importantly, we also find out if they truly think it's fun. And if not, we either need to figure out how to make it fun or give it up altogether, which is something we have done in the past. So, testing with kids is a very important part of what we do. And we have a number of test sessions during the development of an app. And we first do at least one test to evaluate the concept, often by letting kids play with a physical toy that is related to the project. And then we have test sessions continually during the production to see if we are still on the right track. Another thing I've learned is how important it is to design for magical interaction. We spend a lot of time perfecting the user interaction in our apps. The goal is to make it so intuitive that any child can just pick it up and quickly learn how to use it. So to achieve this, we try to make it possible for the user to interact with the interface without any unnecessary layers of abstraction. Let me show you an example of this. So this is Toca Kitchen, an app where you prepare food and feed it to a character. Okay, so the ingredients and tools can be dragged around, dropped, and used in various ways. And after preparation, we can drag the meal to our character's mouth and she will eat it. There are no unnecessary buttons or abstractions here. The user interacts with the interface as if it was a tangible thing. When you make apps for young kids, you have to think about the fact that a significant portion of the target audience hasn't learned how to read yet. So due to this, we have basically no text in our apps, except for the name of the app on the title screen. One good thing about this is that we don't have to translate our apps to a bunch of different languages. We can just release them all over the world. And however, this means that we have to take great care to use clear visual hints that explain to the user how to interact with the app. Okay, I'll start by showing a basic example of this. So this is Toca House, the first app that I made at Toca Boca. You can navigate to the different floors in the house by scrolling up or down. And when you start the app for the first time, it will scroll through all the floors to show you that there are more rooms than the one you start in. But it would be a bit annoying to watch that long animation every time you start the app. So the next time, it will just give you a little hint by bobbing up and down to show you that you can scroll to the next floor. So, like that. Another example is Toca Store. When you pick up one of the items that you want to buy, a subtle shadow appears that tells you that you should put the item on the counter. And then the shopkeeper should enter the price of the item, so the buttons on the cash register starts blinking. And next, the coin purse appears and starts jumping up and down until you tap on it. And once you pick up one of the coins, 4 round shadows appear where you should put the coins. And then you just have to put the item in the shopping bag. When we develop the concept for an app, we always narrow it down to a single core experience for the user. That way, we can spend all of our energy and time perfecting that experience so that it's truly enjoyable for kids to play with. Like, just for example, we could have made Toca Store and Toca Kitchen into a single app where you first bought the ingredients in the store and then cooked them in the kitchen. But that wouldn't have been the same thing. Like, personally, I doubt that would have turned out as well as it did with the 2 separate apps, because the experience would have been more scattered and it probably would have had less attention to detail. Let's look at another example. So this is Toca Tailor, the second app that I worked on at Toca Boca. You can change the shape of the character's shirt and pants by tapping on them. And you can change the length by dragging up and down. So this is fundamental to the core experience of the app, which is to design clothes. So it was very important for us to get it right. And this interaction may seem obvious now, but it actually took quite a while for us to figure out how to reach this solution. So at first we came up with like a bunch of different complicated ideas of how the user could design the character's clothes. Like, for example, by building them out of geometric shapes. And that could have been kind of cool, but it would probably have made it too difficult for the average child to make something that actually looked good. So eventually we came up with this solution, which makes the interaction like both fun and easy to understand, while still giving the user a lot of creative freedom. So interaction with an app becomes magical when the interface is something that you can touch as if it was tangible, and when it's obvious how to interact with it without boring tutorials or help text, and when you focus on a single experience that you polish to perfection. Another challenge when making apps for kids is that they grow and develop. And therefore, there is a huge difference between, say, a 3-year-old and a 9-year-old. So how do you make apps that both can enjoy? We try to make apps that kids can learn how to use in more complex ways as they grow older. So one example of this is Toca Hair Salon 2, which is one of our most popular apps. So you begin by choosing a character. After you have done that, the scissors tool is already selected in the menu, and you get immediate feedback when you tap or drag on the character's hair. Like, even the youngest kids can understand how to do that. And they can also use the other tools on the first screen. But kids that are a bit older, they will figure out that you can scroll the menu to access all the other tools that are available. So they can have fun using the app in a much more complex manner. Actually, even teenagers love this app, even though they weren't the target audience. And Toca Tailor was built with a similar concept in mind. On the first screen, after you have chosen a character, you can change the shape or length of the clothes by simply tapping or dragging, like you saw before. You can also put on accessories, such as hats and glasses, by opening the menu to the right and either just tapping on the accessory you want or dragging it to the character. This is easy enough for anyone. But if you want to change the pattern on the clothes, things get a bit more advanced. You can scale and rotate patterns by using 2 fingers, and you can even use the camera to take a photo of something that you want to use as a pattern. You can also put on decorations such as buttons or studs. So kids that are a bit older can really go wild with this app and make whatever outfit they want.
Oh!
Another thing that is common to both Toca Tailor and Toca Hair Salon is that they both encourage creativity. These are some of the images that our users have uploaded to Instagram. They are all from Toca Tailor and Toca Hair Salon too. Creative play is something that we have focused on a lot lately. And while it's surely not the only way to make apps that are fun for both toddlers and kids in primary school, it is something that we have had success with. The thing about creativity is that you can make quite amazing things with really simple tools. And therefore, a creative app can be simple enough for a 3-year-old to use and yet appeal to a 9-year-old as well. Okay, I would like to show you another creative app, Toca Band. In this app, you create music by combining samples. Toca Band has such easy user interaction that really anyone can use it. So all you do is drag the different characters to the empty spots on the stage, and depending on what level you put them on, the music gets more or less intense. You can also drag a character to the big star in the middle to do some improvisation with that character.
To the beat of bass, wicked, come on, come on.
Okay, so this is so much fun that it really doesn't matter what age you are. Like, adults have even been known to play this with several devices at the same time. So one way to design apps for children of all ages is to have several layers of complexity within the app, so that the user can grow with the app and become better at it with time. And creativity can be one such layer. Okay, looking back, what does it take to make a great digital toy? While these lessons were learned when designing apps for kids, they seem almost universal. Design with kids, not for kids. This could instead be phrased as, always include your target audience from the beginning. Design for magical interaction, or in other words, make the interaction both obvious and fun. Design for children of all ages. Or to paraphrase, remember that everybody have different levels of wants, needs, and proficiency in your app. So design for both casual and pro users. Okay, so here's my contact info. Thank you for listening.